Okay, it's recording, so you can just whatever you want.
Okay, so
Yeah, just
now you don't have to manually turn it every day.
not this bend because the way I made the bottom out of PVC pipes going this way, and I put a piece of plywood that had holes drilled all in it, and I put screen over that. So it's made the bottom. There's so much air coming through the bottom. See, this is open here.
It's under there.
I mean, the floor starts right here. But see how this is?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so there's always air coming through here, and it aerates itself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
When I first built this, I didn't have the plywood over the PVC. I just had the PVC, and then I was going to put hardware cloth over that, and that way you would feed them on top, and then it would fall. You just scrape a scraper up across the bottom, and this compost would fall down. But that was just too much. That was too fancy for what I needed.
Okay.
So I just put plywood over it, and that helped it staying fresh.
Okay, and then you've got the red wigglers.
Yeah. Just the basic compost.
That's good compost.
Yeah, I mean, this compost is actually...
Is it
most
about
of it-
ready?
Oh, it's been ready. It's so ready. I mean, it's been in here for about 3 years.
Oh.
I mean, it would have been ready after about 3 months. And I mean,
And that really is all it needs is 3 months.
Depending on how many worms you have in there.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I have enough worms in here where, I mean, I just fed them. You wouldn't believe how much food I put in here yesterday. And all that I can see that's left of it, right here, a little bit of carrots and stuff.
Okay.
And so
Where did it go?
they ate it.
Where did it go? There it is.
And
Okay.
so I see a couple of spots where
Yeah.
there's some, but yesterday this entire top was covered. It's one solid. I mean, they really don't come out and eat much on the surface until nighttime. You come out here, when it's dark, and you get a red light, a red bulb, because they can't see red. So you put a red light, and you can watch them, and it's amazing how many of them are up on the surface. And I mean, it's kind of like watching a time-lapse film, but it's actually in real time. How fast they eat, you can watch the food disappear. And over here, I built this just recently because I had so many worms. And this one is just packed full. And then this one's got so many worms.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Let me get something better.
Why here?
I just started this bed about a month ago. And what I put in it was...
See how good this soil is?
Oh yeah, it's crumbly. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. The moisture's perfect.
It's just great.
The shiny light right here when I pull this back. Look how many worms are in this right here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just all this entire bin. And that's why I need to make another bin, because
You got too many in one.
well, not too many, but they self-populate. So once they get the right amount, once they start reproducing and they get the exact amount in there that they need,
Yeah.
they won't reproduce anymore.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, and even if somehow they get too crowded, or you put if I were to get, say, 2 pounds out of that box and put it here,
Yeah.
well, something in them triggers telling them that there's too many in there, and they would just crawl out and die. Before they would die, they would lay like 10 times the amount of cocoons that they normally do. It's kind of like a adaptation thing, so that it ensures that when they sacrifice themselves, they're going to leave cocoons, you know, that way they'll always,
So they just lay their egg cocoons, and then they die
They
in there,
die.
and the cocoon and whatever they eat.
so that you
That-
actually get more worms in the end by doing that. It's a trick if you want to multiply your worms. If you have, you know, bigger boxes, you need more worms. What you can do is stress them out, either by getting them cold or by putting too many in a small box, and that triggers that you know, that reaction where they lay all these cocoons, and then a week later you got, or maybe 2 weeks later, you got 10 times the amount that you had.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And
And this box here.
and this is what you want to use in the
Yeah. I mean,
greenhouse.
yeah. Actually, yesterday, you know the man that owns the berry farm up here
Right,
on Salty
right.
Road? I talked to him. I've been talking to him for 2 or 3 days. He's one of about 5 or 6 farmers that I've talked to that if I had a place set up to where I could brew the worm tea in a bigger, like a 60-gallon tank instead of a 5-gallon bucket,
Right.
that's what they want. He's already told me that he would pay me $500 for 50 gallons, you know, one a week, and
Where you're at.
that was just about every time I talk to somebody, they're ready to place an order, but I just can't do it because I don't have.
Cause that's like whenever Bobby sent you word that we needed a trailer loaded full.
Right.
Okay. So, but so actually, you want the high greenhouse
Yeah,
to expand in.
the high tunnel.
Yeah, the high tunnel.
Yeah, I mean that'd be perfect because you know I could build it, whatever the length of the high tunnel is. I would
Yeah.
build the worm bin that long,
Right.
the entire length, and maybe 2 or 3 if I could get them in there. And with that amount, when you have, if you have 3 bins, say 64 feet long,
Yeah.
and you had enough food to feed the worms, which is not a problem, you can always get stuff from restaurants.
Oh, there's a lot of people that's got where you can go and say, I need you to fill this 5-gallon bucket up with
Coffee places, and one of the best
potato
places now, you know, Alabama has the new beer company, brewing. It's legal to brew beer in Alabama. And after they make the mash, the corn that's left over, they normally have to take it to the landfill, and they'll give it to you. And, I mean, it's truckloads, and that's the best thing you get, and you just have to grind it up somehow and get a meal.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, worms love corn and oats and grains just about as much as they like manure.
Right. You ever use home ground
Yeah,
cornmeal?
a lot. I mean, I mix up about once a month. I'll buy cornmeal. I go to a thrift store that's got, you know, old stuff,
Right.
and get just plain cornmeal, not self-fried, just plain
Right.
cornmeal, and oats, like not instant oats, but
Oats.
yeah, it's oatmeal, but it's not the instant. You know, just the whole oats.
Right.
And then
Okay.
you get that and mix them together, and I'll get some coffee and tea and put in there. And put in the food processor and just grind it up. And, like every other day, as long as I have it, I'll feed them that every other day. And something, one ingredient in there, I don't know what it does, but it makes them real active, and they not only do they eat that, they also eat whatever else is in there faster, and they make more compost. And, I mean, there's so many things about worms that nobody understands, even the most knowledgeable. And like doctor at Ohio State University, and Dr. Sherman at North Carolina State. They are probably the two leading experts in North America, but
Right.
they even admit that, every day that there's so many questions that they don't know how to answer about. The best thing, they'll do a trial on feed all worms, pig manure, then another batch worms, they'll feed them grains, and then they'll try to figure out which makes the best compost. Well, one year it'll be the cow manure, then the next time they do it, it'll be the grains. So they don't know what causes,
Whichever one.
they think it has more to do with the worms and the environment they're in and what they produce. It really doesn't matter what you feed them. As long as they can eat it and process it, and it comes out, it's good. It's stable. It's more. If you were a farmer was going to use, say, chicken manure on his field, he'd have to bleach it and compost it to kill all the pathogens, and you have to do it 3 or 4 times. It'd take about a month. Well, you could feed it. You could pre-compost it for about a day, and then so it wouldn't be so hot for the worms. And then feed it to the worms, and a week later, it would be just as stable as what's in this bin right here.
Right.
But in a week's time.
You ever put eggshells in there?
Yeah, that's for the calcium, but instead of eggshells, I started using this lime. When I did the grains.
Lime?
Yeah. Like lime, you lower sweeten stuff with pH.
Yeah.
Whenever I do I was telling you about the oats and the stuff I mix. Whenever I do that, I'll add a little bit of lime, and that's the same thing as the eggshells would do.
Oh, my bad, cameraman.
It's okay. I'm not a good actor either, so
We're just people that's working and trying to get a point across.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But you've got a good idea. The trade day has really made you take off, hadn't it?
What?
Working at your trade day.
Yeah, oh yeah. To be honest with you, I've got more business right now than I have.
That you're able to take care of.
Yeah, I'm not advertising anything, but people are still, by word of mouth, coming to me.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that I can't take advantage of it.
That's true.
Because how many opportunities? Most of the time, you start a business and it takes you forever to find customers. I did this as a hobby, and somehow people just started showing up and wanting to buy everything I had.
Right.
There's been the guy that I first bought my 1,000 worms from in South Carolina. Just about a week ago, he called wanting to buy all my worms, not the compost, just the worms. So I figured out how many I had. I have about 3.5 million. And at wholesale price, that's $75,000. And he was willing to pay that. And I wanted to do it, but the only reason I didn't is because I don't have product liability insurance. And if he got the worms and all of his entire worm farm died or something, which it wouldn't be because of my worms, but if that just happened coincidentally,
he could take you.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get certified too.
If we're talking about to be organic. So yeah. And I'm starting to I really want to use most of this stuff to grow my own vegetables. But I can supplement my income in the first few years by, like selling 50 gallons to worm tea to the farmer over here for, that'd be enough in the first, because I know growing vegetables the first 2 years, no matter how much you plan, you're not going to be able to make a profit for a couple of years. It'd be hard to.
Not unless you can get a grant and get it in with the experimental stations.
Right.
at one of the 1898. And let you do your experimenting on your own land.
Right.
That way, you have Sand Mountain soil versus gumbo soil in the south.
Right.
And it's got too much clay, so it would take a long time for them poor worms to digest all that clay and
Yeah,
convert it.
It does make a difference.
So it would be best if you could do it on Sand Mountain, right here.
That land right there is what I'm hoping to get.
Right, okay.
So I guess it all depends on if I get that or not.
All right, Mr. Mitchell,
Thanks for
we
coming over.
appreciate you.